Okay, so today this class is all about opening the psoas in a gentle, very restorative way. So what you'll need for this class is a chair. So any sort of chair will do as long as it can support your legs, and a block, and then optional, a blanket. Any blanket that has a little bit of weight to it is perfectly fine. And we're going to just make sure the block is handy and then find our way onto the back. Okay, so we're going to just lay on the back. Your feet are on the mat. We're going to bring hands to the belly. And then just notice your shoulder blades and see if you can maybe slide them down a little bit to make them more flush with the floor. Your elbows are relaxed to the floor if they reach. And then just close your eyes. And we're going to let the knees knock together. And let the jaw part slightly. So the psoas is where we carry a lot of stress, carry a little bit of trauma there as well. So this is great for that. But notice if things creep up in your mind as you release the psoas, just think of those things that come into the mind as things you're going to work on releasing as well. And just let what stresses us pass through. Like we're standing on the side of the road and cars passing by on the freeway. We're just going to watch them as they pass and let them go into the distance and out of view. Let's just take a few more breaths. Good. We're going to let the knees point back up to the ceiling. Grab that block that's nearby. We're going to lift the hips up and place the block under your hips. Now tuck the shoulders underneath you a little bit more. Arms can be down by your sides now. We're just going to relax here. So this is supported bridge. Just supporting the hips. And if you need to make adjustments to make this more comfortable, do that. And at any point, you can rewind your pose and come back into this pose as you need to. So don't let lower back pain, if you have a little low back pain, you want to rewind and come out of it. So we're going to walk the left leg to straight. So we're just walking it to straight. Now your right knee could stay here. You could keep your foot on the mat, or we're going to take that knee and hug it into the chest. And this should feel relaxing. Okay, so we're going to release the right knee and set that right foot back down on the mat. And then just see how it feels by walking the right foot a little more to center and letting that knee come out to the side. Just a couple of breaths here. Good. Now we're going to lift that right knee, bend into the left knee. We're back to bridge. Stay here, just breathe. Good. So we're going to walk the right leg straight now. Feel how that feels. See if you can soften into that right leg a little more as you hug the left knee into the chest. Good. We're going to release that left foot back down to the floor. Walk the left foot a little more center and let the knee fall out to the side. Just a few breaths. Then we're going to bring that knee to point straight up. And then bending into the left knee or right knee. Back to supported bridge. Good. Now let's walk the feet together and let the knees fall out to the sides. Just for a few breaths here. So we're tapping into the tops of the thighs where the psoas is, but the psoas also connects to the inner thighs. So we're opening up all the areas. And throughout your practice, you're just working on keeping the belly soft so we can relax where The psoas connects to the low back. And now we're going to slowly bring the knees back up to center. Bottoms of the feet on the mat. Lift your hips off of the block and set the block aside. We'll need it in a little bit, but we're going to hug the knees into the chest. Relax. Let the low back release. And take both knees together, hands on top of the knees, and just draw a little circle. One direction, and then the other. Good, and then we're going to roll onto one side of the body, press up to seated. Good. So we're going to bring the bottoms of the feet together. So have that block handy again. Sitting up tall. Knees are pressing down toward the floor, and we're pressing the belly forward. Soften the shoulders. Let's for a moment just come forward, stretching those inner thighs a little bit more. And then coming up, I'm going to take the block on the thinnest setting and just place it in between your feet. Sitting up tall. Good. And then we're just holding on to the ankles or the shins, and you're just using the arms to help you find the connection between your straight spine, your knees pressing down, your chin pointing down just slightly. And just pull the belly in just slightly, just for now. Good, and then we're going to release. Set the block aside. Nice. So let's take your chair, bring it in. So you can take a blanket and put it underneath your hips if you want padding under your hips. I'm actually going to save mine for another use, but if you have more than one blanket, feel free to pad. And then we're going to set this block aside, and we're going to come on with the legs up onto the chair. So we want to get as close to the chair as we can, setting up. And you want to make sure that your feet can hang off the back if you need the room. So my feet do hang off the back. You can turn the chair until you find that spot. And then we want to relax your inner thighs. And just start here. So we're just starting here. And the key here is the knees are directly over the hips. So you don't want your knee forward of the hips. You want them directly over if you can. If you can't, that's okay. Good. We're going to hug the knees into the chest. Squeeze. And then lower the knees over to the right. Little twist. Now, if the knees don't touch, so your knees hovering, you can use your block to help you support that top knee. So this twist is just a little counter pose to all the psoas work that we were doing and that we are doing. Bring the legs up to center. Squeeze. And then we'll lower the legs over to the left. Nice, bringing the legs up to center. Okay, so we're going to start over to the right side of the chair. So we might scooch your hips over a little bit. And then we're going to have your left leg on the chair, your right leg straight on the floor. Now this is where your handy blanket will come in. If you don't have one underneath your hips, or you do, you can use a second blanket. You can take a blanket and lay it on your hips. And this just helps bring a little weight to the area, and it'll help you relax your hips a little more. So we want your left leg, you want the inner thigh to relax. Notice if you're gripping there. And you want your straight leg not pointing up. We want it to relax as well. So we want everything to soften. And as you soften, they kind of feel like they're falling out to the sides. Soften the shoulders, the jaw, the forehead. The lower back, the toes, the fingers. So we're going to slowly bend into that right knee. And just work the hips back to center. You can keep the blanket where it is if you have it on your hips. And just feel center for a moment. Relax the inner thighs. And then we're going to walk on over to the other side. So we're just going to scooch the hips over to the left side of the chair. The right leg will stay on the chair. The left leg will straighten next to the chair. Relax the inner thighs. Just make sure everything is just jelly. Very soft. And bend into the left knee. Scooch the hips over so that they're center in front of the chair. We're going to do our final Shavasana with the legs on the chair. You want to just make sure your inner thighs are soft. Your belly is soft. You can have your arms on your belly or down by your sides. If you noticed any thoughts coming into the mind that might have been stressful or bothersome, just imagine them like a car as you're sitting on the side of a freeway, going down the interstate and going out of your view. And then notice other cars passing. Some are better thoughts than others. You just let them pass through, not attaching yourself to any one thought. Focusing on the breathing and softening the body. Just take a few more breaths right here. Allowing some movement to come into the fingers and the toes. Take the blanket and just set it aside as we roll onto one side of the body. Pressing up to a seated position. Bring hands to heart center. So today, let's seal our practice with one chant of Om together. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. The highest light in me salutes and appreciates the highest light in each of you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.